A new challenge for me?
Well, before I leave, I'm gonna keep looking around this area because there might be loot. There's apparently a box that we could get to if we could move the pipes or something. Ooh, awareness test succeeded. For what? The gauge shows that the steam pressure in this pipe is close to the maximum. However, it does not reach the bars at the other end. Okay, and this one we could turn. Because it's got an indicator. So probably we start here and then another pipe might have steam coming out of it and we turn the valve near there. And slowly make our way back to that other pipe maybe. This page is where the start of each shift is marked. The last mark is missing. The workers went on strike. Alright, a multi-key. Looks good. Can't talk to any of you. No, we can turn this valve as well. So maybe that just unlocked the ability to turn all the valves, which would make it more challenging. How did you get back here? Oh, that's a bathroom. Sorry for looking in on you. Let's verify that I'm right. Can we mess with all the valves now? Or is it just those two? Where's another valve?
Follow my lead.
Yeah, now we can turn all the valves. Well, darn. Well, I'm gonna assume the steam is the clue, because that one had steam coming out of it. So we'll do a save, and then turn it. Well, that didn't seem to do anything obvious. Did any of the others start having steam pour out of them? Not there. It could just be that I need to turn all of them, and it's not actually a puzzle, but it seems less likely to me. This has steam here. I don't think it was steaming there before. Nope, that just suddenly started spouting steam. That's probably a bad sign. This has steam here. Maybe they all had steam and I'm just Nope, that turned the steam off there.
Victory awaits.
Man, I have no idea. I don't think that's steam coming out of this. Let's just check. Is there any way? No. Nothing I can do there yet. This one's got steam coming out of it. Nope, that suddenly caused more steam to pop out. Huh. And you can't undo the ones you've turned. So we've still got one here. Oh, this has steam coming out of it now. It didn't before. Hey! Somehow that actually worked. Nice. Tech use. We don't need to use demolition or a multi-key. We can just do the tech use.
Just as I was taught.
3 melta charges, a crack grenade, 3 force grenades, and a multi-key. Actually, one thing we really do need is more med kits. Okay, she's got 2 med kits and a blood vial. Creates a pool of blood. Oh, so she can just create a pool of blood on her own, like a grenade. Alright. You have a fire grenade. I don't think any of us have any. Yeah, carried equipment. You have demolition, so I will give you some grenades. Oh, you can only have one grenade per slot? 40% armor penetration, 24 to 48 damage. What is this? 5 energy damage within the area and pushes targets 2 cells away. So this is for damage. That's just to knock people back. Alright. We'll give her some grenades. Consumables. You have found a consumable item. Grenades, stimulants, medikits, and other consumables can be placed in quick access slots. To do this, double-click on an item, left mouse button, drag it, blah, blah, blah. As with most actions in combat, using consumable item spends the character's action points. Yes. Figured out all of that. Well, I think that's all there is to do down here.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Or not. Stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses your other companion saying, I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment. Abelard looks at you, and his last vestiges of restraint vanish. Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You kowtowed to this loyal rabble, you believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them in with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valencia's Protectorate? You don't speak to your Lord Captain in that tone. Why are you so angry? I solved the problem. There's some truth to your criticism. Let's talk about your role in this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. I mean, both 3 and 4. There's some truth to his statement. I am assuming that those people are not as wicked and prone to chaos as he implies they could be, but they might be. We passed the awareness test that said they were being honest, but he could theoretically be right, and we might have made a mistake, but I don't think so. But also, this all happened because of his actions. But I'm willing to accept his criticism. There's some truth to your criticism. I should say so. Abelard heaves a sigh, but he visibly relaxes. You simply needed to trust me. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene, Abelard says irascibly. I don't think I know that word. Remember, Lord Captain Theodora, do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers while she dedicated herself to her grand designs for the Protectorate, as any true strategist and rogue trader ought. Maybe Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There's a new Lord Captain aboard the ship now, and I will not repeat her mistake. I would be only too willing to trust in my seneschal and not fill my head with such matters if the situation spiraled out of you. But the situation spiraled out of your control. Give me a reason why I should continue listening to your advice and trusting your judgment. Right now, I don't see any. No, he gives good advice. He would definitely hate hearing about this, blaming her death on the fact that she didn't get more involved. But to some extent, it's true. Like, she already knew that the Master of Whispers was questionable and had worries about him, but didn't do anything to try and stop him. Removing him from position or anything. Like, if she'd gotten more involved, maybe she'd still be alive. So, yeah, he'll hate this answer, but I'm going to use it anyway. If Theodora had spent more time trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There is a new Lord Captain aboard this ship, and I will not repeat her mistake. Abelard looks at you stunned and exhales loudly, then he nods curtly. I commend your decisiveness, but I am uncomfortable with introducing new protocols in the midst of a crisis. And, Abelard stands straight at attention, I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. Abelard speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him. The prosperity of the Von Valencia's Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. They create impulse where that creative impulse, there we go, was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredible reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodore entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers on scouting voyages, and the advancements of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly, everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hangar on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I'm not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I'm duty-bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you, to find your footing as quickly as possible. And to do that, I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements. Theodore trusted in established procedures, and she died. I won't make the same mistake. If you want to keep building the future of the Von Valencia's Protectorate with me, stop living in the past. There's some truth to that. Clearly the protocols didn't work. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader, accept it, and start living in the new world, a world where Theodore is gone and where you and I have new decisions to make. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's great to have old procedures that have existed for, you know, however long, but you also need to modify those procedures to fit the times. Like, if something isn't working or hasn't worked, or if a weakness has been found, you make new procedures to adjust that. You can't just stick on your old procedures and say it's always worked, so it will always work. It might not. Like, some change is necessary. The prosperity of the Von Valencia's Protectorate is just as important to me. You are the only person who has comprehensive knowledge of how things are run on this ship. I think in the future I will follow your recommendations. Not always. I value what Theodore created, and I trust that this situation is an aberration in the ship's otherwise smooth operations. Since the established procedures are working, I see no reason to change them. I've seen plenty of sentiment and hand-wringing in recent days, but very little competence. I have no plans to rely on your judgment or your tried and tested procedures in the future. No. I think the established procedures are probably very good, but they need to be open to potential change. Yeah. I don't like... Some of these are very, I'm going to just do what you say in the future, and I don't like that. But also the, I'm never going to listen to you again is also bad. These top two. Stop living in the past. No, I think I'm going to go with 2. I understand you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord and Captain and Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in the new world, a world where Theodore is gone and where you and I have new decisions to make. Like, this you and I, it's not I'm going to make new decisions, but work with me in making decisions, is at least how I'm translating that. Abelard solemnly inclines his head. Yes, Lord Captain. After a moment's silence, he adds, looking at you with interest, your resolve is admirable, and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment, should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. And now, please, let us leave the lower decks. If the rogue trader desires to stretch his legs, there are far more suitable places.
A new challenge for me.
Also, a bit of a question of why they had frag grenades and crack grenades and whatnot down there in the lower levels. Now that I'm just thinking about it. Oh no, level up again. It always takes so long. Right. Starting out, we get a talent. For each adjacent ally, the soldier deals plus 8% more damage to enemies. That's pretty cool. Because we're probably going to be in the back with several other ranged characters. Cover efficiency is increased. Fired up. The soldier deals damage. Their critical damage is increased by 1%. That one could be really good because if we're lighting enemies on fire and every time that enemy burns, we're getting plus 1% damage or critical damage for the rest of the combat. After the soldier deals damage to 3 different enemies, the soldier gains plus 16% more damage for their next attack in the current combat. Rapid reload, unpredictability. I don't know. What do we have psychically? Okay, this is our Fortress World stuff. No. Yeah, this one sounded so good, but it's so terrible. This is 3 stacks, which is willpower bonus divided by 2. Just gives me 3% chance to get another action. So bad. First reload doesn't matter. Force weapon attacks deal plus 2 more damage and have 10% more armor penetration. We're not really using force weapons. We have our staff and we could bludgeon people with it, but it's not really our thing. Although there is a part of me that thinks for our pyromancer character that maybe I should have gone with the warrior instead and been a frontline psyker pyromancer. And we could rebuild our character if I wanted to, but I'm not feeling the need to do that yet. Usage of a heroic act by the psyker decreases veil degradation. Our veil degradation is already fantastic. Psyker gains the inscribed soul ability. It costs no AP, but deals direct damage to the psyker equal to 25% of the psyker's maximum wounds. The next psychic power used after this ability will not trigger psychic phenomena. Again, we're not dealing with that much. While the psyker is not in the target's line of sight, or the psyker is in cover, all resistance tests of the target suffer a -8 penalty. So if we are in cover, which we should always be, then they have penalties 4 + 4 times psi rating. That's going to be keep growing as we raise our psi rating. Penalties to their resistance checks. That's tempting. Psyker Majoris. Is that the next one? Yeah, we got Minoris. Psyker Majoris. We have to get to level 14. I don't even know what level we are. I don't feel like counting. But it's going to be a while, it looks like. Psychic powers have a 25% chance to regain AP spent on psychic powers when veil degradation is 10 or lower. Ooh. Does that allow me to take multiple attacks? I assume not. In which case, it's not as important. Because that's what I would want, is the ability to get more attacks in a turn. When the Psyker's psychic power... The Psyker's psychic powers that have a range of 2 cells or more have their range increased by 3. So we could attack from farther away. There's been a few times where we've struggled to get enemies in the back. Giving us 3 more cells as value. Psyker's Resolve is increased by +3 while Veil Degradation is 10 or lower. Getting more Resolve doesn't feel that important. I know it's a major mechanic, but hasn't seemed as impressive to me as I think it's supposed to. Psyker can use damaging psychic power while being threatened by enemies in melee range without provoking attacks of opportunity. Non-damaging psychic powers do not provoke attacks of opportunity even without this talent. Okay. Whenever psychic power used by the Psyker deals damage or an enemy within 2 cells from the initial target suffers half of this damage. Okay, so if enemies are clumped up a bit, then I could get more damage out. Psyker's critical hit chance increases by 1% until the end of combat every time the Psyker deals damage by any means. Isn't that the same as the one that was above? Psyker gains 16% additional armor against fire damage and half this amount as additional armor against energy damage from Las Melt and Plasma. Again, there's that idea of us lighting ourselves on fire to get bonuses. And that would be an important one to have as well in that case. When Psyker uses psychic power, all enemies adjacent to the Psyker suffer 4 direct damage. We're not going to be adjacent to enemies much, at least hopefully not. Every time the Psyker kills or scores a critical hit against 8 creatures in one combat, Psyker's next attack will cost 0 AP, will not count towards the attack limit. Yeah, we're not killing 8 people in a combat very often. Every time the enemy suffers damage from a Psyker, that enemy's armor is reduced by 5%. And then it starts taking away deflection. Cool. I mean, that would help our allies. When the Psyker is burning, the Psyker's psi rating is increased by 1, and the Psyker's resolve is increased by 2. Damage from fire no longer reduces the Psyker's momentum. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Getting us to a psi rating 2 just by lighting ourselves on fire. Obviously can't do that while we don't have any medkits. All damage over time effects applied by the Psyker gain 10% critical hit chance. This chance is increased by all the bonuses to critical hit chance. Okay. Then boosting various skills and whatnot. We can boost our characteristics. Okay. Well, I guess let's go back up to here. I didn't actually look at most of these. That one was good. 7% critical hit chance. This bonus is doubled against enemies from which the soldier is protected by cover at the moment of the attack. Yeah. So if we're in cover... There was another one about cover, right? Cover efficiency. Soldier's demolition, instead of intelligence, is used to determine additional damage dealt with ranged area attacks. Soldier's second attack deals 13% more damage. No. While the soldier has full cover against an enemy, the soldier gains plus 10% damage against that enemy, and the enemy's attacks have 20% less damage against the soldier. Okay. Well, at full wounds, the soldier has plus 10 ballistic skill and 2 MP. That doesn't matter. No. 3 cell radius around the soldier. We're never that close. Okay, Revel and Slaughter can be used after 2 kills instead of 3. Revel and Slaughter, I think, is the one that allows us to turn off our... right? The winded effect, yeah. Until the end of combat, the soldier gains the following. Plus 10 ballistic skill, 13% critical damage, 4% critical chance. Counter is not reset between rounds, so yeah. If we kill enemies, we can then remove the winded effect so that we can use run and gun again. And that would just make it easier to get that. Enemies damaged by the soldier's area attack suffer +2 damage. Okay, I think that's most of the ones I cared about. So what do I actually want out of these? Critical hit chance. Could be nice. Penalizing their resistance is probably good because I think Inferno and Firestorm and whatnot all still require resistance tests. Do they? Can I see Ignite? Of course not. I don't want to close out of this. There's no way to see it here. Okay, so that's just hiding what's unavailable, which doesn't help me. No, okay. Second sight is pretty good, just because range is good. At some point, I'm going to want Body of Flames and Relentless Blaze. Or do I want to just take out enemies' armor? To be kind of a more support role. I'm gonna go melting armor. I don't think it's that often we're too far out of range. It's happened, but I don't think I need to make it a priority. Let's just be support and reduce enemies' armor. Alright, and then skills. Cassie is our awareness person. Cabela and Argenta are demolitions. Abelard is currently our best athletics. Not great at it. Medicae is Cabela. Lore Warp is our shtick. Yeah, we're at 51. So let's boost that even higher. That'll get us to 61. Okay. Finally done with us. Now you. I don't know you very well. So I'd love to choose Medicae for you, but apparently I can't for some reason. You already have this feature. So because we took Medicae probably here, we can't take it again. Darn. Well, you're only 30 athletics, 60 demolitions, so you could get that as well along with Argenta. 30 awareness, 45 carouse. I guess, do I focus on something no one has? Like athletics? Or do I double up on the ones you're already decent at, knowing that there's people better? So we've got coercion that no one is particularly good at. Cassie is at 45, but 45 is not amazing. And then we have athletics, where Abelard's at 40. What's your strength? And coercion is fellowship? Yeah. Strength is 25. You're probably not going to be our athletics person. And fellowship is 30, which is also not amazing. I guess out of these, I would go demolition. Because even though Argenta is awesome, this will put her above Argenta. But it also means that if we're... Because eventually we're going to get more party members and we're going to have to start picking and choosing who we bring. And if there's a circumstance where I decide to leave Argenta behind, one or the other, then we'll still have that skill covered. And it's better that than to have her grab athletics when she'll still not even be good at it. Okay. Ugh, common talents. Alright. There's just so many talents. And I haven't seen how she fights yet, unfortunately. Probably gonna focus on her Blade Dancer stuff. Oh, I can't. Never mind. Oh yeah, that's what this is. Okay. This cold assassins. Allies deal +2 plus agility bonus percentage more damage to enemies if both the ally and their target stand on the blood-covered cells. Okay. Dance of Thorns. Each time the Death Cult Assassin parries or dodges an attack, all enemies with the blood-stained effect suffer +1 stack of this effect. Definitely decent. Creature with the Blood-Blessed or Blood-Stained effect gains +1 stack of this effect whenever bleeding, burning, or toxin is inflicted on it. This would stack with our character, because we'd be inflicting burning. Creature with those gets +1 stack. Oh, yawning. Whenever they suffer damage from, that's better than whenever burning gets inflicted. Suffering damage from burning. So probably either Dance of Thorns. Whenever she parries or dodges an attack, all enemies with Bloodstained gain +1 stack. I think I'm going to go with that. Cassia. What's your deal? Right, you're an officer, so your focus is going to be on party buffing. Commanding voice is a maybe. Have I marked any of these? I did mark some of these. Good. Whenever an ally is in combat gains an extra turn, Navigator gains a stacking +5 bonus to willpower. Okay. Don't think that's terribly important. Healing at the beginning of every turn. Allies that are targeted by the Navigator's powers gain +10% armor. Okay, there's some decent options there. And we can't choose any of her Navigator abilities, it looks like. We didn't mark any of these, just the... I guess these are Navigator abilities, but not the attacking abilities. What I was thinking of. I don't know. I'm just going to go with one of these, I think. Do we have ways of giving additional turns? Thought we did. Maybe we don't yet. I don't know. If we do, then cool, we're going to get bonuses to our willpower, and if not, then over time we're going to get things that give additional turns. And it'll be nice to have this. Alright, your skills now. Commerce, you're at 45. Abelard's at 50. Persuasion, you're at 55 already, which is the highest, so that's a definite maybe. Carouse, no. Coercion, maybe. Lore Imperium, no. Awareness. You're below Adira, but you are decent at it. And Lore Warp is a no. We can go Persuasion or Coercion. Not surprisingly, they're both or Fellowship focused. I think I'll go Coercion just to get a little bit higher. So then she has 55 in both, rather than getting our Persuasion up really high, when typically we're already, with a lot of checks, at 100% chance to succeed. Getting them both up is probably going to be good. Argenta. What's your deal? I apparently marked better to die for the Emperor. While under 40% wounds, Imperial World characters gain plus 10 bonus to all characteristics and plus 2 bonus to resolve. Doesn't sound bad. A lot of that is for dealing with xenos and demons, which, at least so far, we're not dealing with. This one could be better for her, because she is more likely to kill more people. Whenever the soldier successfully dodges or uses cover against an enemy's attack, they gain a guaranteed critical hit against that enemy. That also sounds good. She gets attacked often. I don't think misses count as dodging. But she's in cover regularly. Yeah. I'm fine with trace the trajectory. And then for your skill, demolition, I think, is what we've been doing with you. Although Cabela is also up there. Athletics, no. Medicae, no. Lore Imperium. We need someone to start getting some of these skills that no one has. But I don't know. Adira. You're an operative. Which I did find I misused when I exposed weakness. It removes the stacks to decrease dodge, parry, and armor. But that... yeah. So I analyzed enemies to exploit them, which allows us to do more damage. But then, rather than doing the more damage, which is what I should have done, I exposed the weakness, which then lowered their dodge and parry, and then I did less damage. So, need to keep that in mind, that there's a time and a place to expose weakness, but expose weakness doesn't mean that I'm doing more damage, it means I'm doing less. I haven't marked anything for you specifically. Let's see, with your psychic stuff, because again, that's how she usually does her attacks. That's cool. Enemies that have taken damage from the psyker at least once suffer -20 penalty to all resistance tests. Mind Thief. Enemies that become targets of the psyker's psychic powers gain a stacking -5 penalty to the dodge and parry until the end of combat. So that would help the rest of the team. After every 6th use of a psychic power by the psyker, all enemies gain a stacking -5 penalty to all characteristics. That's not 6 attacks. So when we use her psychic powers to like boost our allies' defenses, whatever that ability was called, then things like that, 6 of them, then all enemies get penalties to all characteristics. That's pretty darn good, sounds like. And we have the ability to blind targets. This one would say enemies suffering from blind take 10% more damage. Is it 10% more damage from the psyker, or just in general? If enemies suffering from the blind, stunned, immobilized, or prone effects inflicted by the psyker suffer 10% more damage. So does that mean even allies are doing 10% more damage if an enemy was blinded by my psyker? Because that could also be really good. I'm gonna grab both of those as possibilities. Let's see. Okay, so if we use this on Abelard or Genta, whatever, so when we do that dodge bonus thing that we give them, then they'd get +10 weapon skill or ballistic skill till the end of combat. Also very good. Ooh, she gets +5 range. Neat. She should be able to get Psychic Minoris soon. Level 9, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next level, she'll be able to pick up Psyker Minoris. That's good stuff. I'm gonna go with Weak Hearts. Assuming I'm reading that correctly, that sounds pretty good. Then we get a common trait, which is different. Apparently. Talents, common talents. Because I'm like, we could also pick up Warp Minds that I was looking at. Just grab them both. Haha. Sure. Then I'll mark that one as a good one to get later. But I think I'll grab both of these. So, lots of power usage means that enemies get stacking -5 penalties. And then, when we blind an enemy, everyone does 10% more damage to them. Abelard, finally. Alright, we can't boost your carouse. So we could put you into athletics, which wouldn't be the worst. Coercion, demolition, or Medicae. Probably athletics. What is your strength? Yeah, your strength is 40. It's a reasonable choice. Alright. I assume we don't have anything. We do have things marked. When you're injured, you gain bonuses to characteristics. Or this one, giving an extra turn, which would stack with that. Sure. I'm alright with all of that.